Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to our panel. I'm Nada Alam. I am the chair of the Durham County Board of Commissioners, and we have a really inspiring group of folks that you're going to get to hear the stories from about what I wish you knew from our marginalized voices within. And this is going to be a really interactive session, so we're excited for y'all to hear these inspiring stories and also share your own personal stories. And I want to, ground us all and remember, these are going to be really intense conversations and really personal stories. So coming with it to this space with love and understanding, and also leaving in a place where we are more understanding of the folks around us and realize that everyone has a story that we may not know. So I want us to start out with just this word cloud board that is just going to be up so that we can all kind of share our thoughts of everyone. If you could just open up your phones, and if you go to menti, menti.com, and enter in the code. Oh, I'll wait for everyone to get to menti.com. Just menti.com, and use the code 820-326-48. Raise your hand if you need me to repeat that. Okay, so you're just going to put in, you can put in a word or 820-326-48. So I just want everyone to submit one word or a short phrase from their personal story that as they navigate this world of politics and organizing, being visibly South Asian in America, something that resonates with you. Because oftentimes we don't realize the shared connectiveness of our story. So if we all share a word and it pops up here, we can build more of a community. And while you guys do that, I'm going to get us started with our three amazing panelists. And so we're going to hear from two folks here, and then we have Rishika, who is on Zoom, who will make her bigger when she is speaking, but she's in the corner. But I'll begin with Shaylin. Shaylin, do you want to share your personal story?
Sure. I'm just going to stand. Hi, everyone. My name is Shaylin Gandhi. I'm 15. I just started my sophomore year of high school, and I'm studying to become an engineer. So the reason that I want to be an engineer is because I've always seen engineering as basically taking what you're given and using it to create something new, something better. And if I have to dedicate my life to one thing, it'll be my mission to create a better world. So my grandparents came to this country in the late 60s, and it was in this country that my parents were born, and it's the country that my sister and I call home. So growing up, I knew exactly what I wanted to be, or at least I thought I did. If you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have said with full certainty that I wanted to be Iron Man, which is kind of how I came to engineering. But as we grow, our understanding of the world changes, and along with it, our understanding of ourselves. So, as I grew, I had to start to reconcile being Indian with also being American. And with the help of my family, I realized that you don't have to choose one or the other. You can eat funnel cake on the 4th of July and also I can also celebrate Diwali with my family. So once I figured that out, there was still another part of me that didn't quite seem to fit. See, I was born a girl, but I always knew that I was a boy. So about 4 years ago, when I was in 6th grade, my grade read this book called Melissa. The book is about a 4th grade trans girl on her journey to coming out. Up to that point, her journey looked increasingly similar to mine. And in the end, when she came out, I realized that I had finally found the word to describe what I'd always felt: transgender. It was a new word to me. I'd heard it on the news before, usually not in a positive light, but I still didn't quite know what it meant. Strictly speaking, the definition of being transgender is being a person whose gender identity differs from their sex assigned at birth. And I mean, the scientific definition seemed to fit me okay. In fact, it seemed to almost encapsulate my understanding of myself at the time. Almost. But since then, I've learned that there's a lot more to me than being trans, and being trans is a lot more than what Google lists. So shortly after I came out to my parents, I came out to my grandma, my dadima. I wasn't fully being myself if I didn't share my identity with the people closest to me. So I was terrified. I still remember I sat her down at our dining room table, and I told her a little bit about the book I had read, Melissa. Then I told her about me. Like I said, I was terrified. But she just looked at me and she said, "I know." And then to fully show you how much she supported me, at Raksha Bandhan that year, she got me a Rakhi that said on it, it said Mera Bhaiya, for my sister to tie onto me. And it was the first Rakhi that my sister had tied onto me as her brother. It was in that moment that I realized that that's another part of my identity, another part of being trans. I'm also Indian. And so from that moment on, every part of my journey as a trans person includes my journey as an Indian person. And every part of my journey as an Indian person also includes how my being trans fits into it. All right, so now I've told you a little bit about myself. Now let's get on to the exciting bit. So every time that you see a kid, anybody in Gen Z or Gen Alpha, remember that we might just be kids now, but we're going to be the future. In 10 to 20 years' time, we're going to be politicians, artists, and engineers. We are going to be the people running the world. And now is the time for us to decide what kind of world we want to live in. I know the kind of world that I see, and I am doing everything in my power to make my vision a reality. I'm a gender cool champion, so that means that I speak to people across the country, and I show the country that trans kids exist, and that we're just kids who are living our lives. Not only that, we are thriving. I went to my state legislature in May and in March to talk to them about how they can protect both trans kids and South Asian kids. I went to my local Board of Ed to stop them from repealing key protections for students. And now I'm here speaking to you all, showing you that we have a chance to really change things. It's no secret that there are new challenges facing our community right now, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared because I'm taking AP US History right now, and so on the first day we had to read the preamble for the Constitution. And in the first line is, "We the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union." Well, here we are. We are the people. Everybody here at this conference are the people, and we are here in pursuit of a more perfect union. Now all we have to do is to speak louder so that everybody can hear our voices. All right, so I know that I've said a lot, so if you walk away from here only remembering one thing that I've said, remember that everybody here, no matter who you are, where you came from, has the power to fight, to make a difference, and now is the time to use it.
Thank you so much, Shaylin, for being here on this panel with us, and also just your inspiring story and making sure that other young people like you who need that support and need a role model have that. So thank you. I'm going to now pass it to Nisa Sheikh to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. That was going to be very hard to follow, but I will do my best. Thank you so much, Nida, and to my fellow panelists here. My name is Nisa Sheikh. I'm here representing Saki for South Asian Survivors. We are an organization based out of New York City. Saki exists to represent the South Asian and Indo-Caribbean diaspora in a survivor-led, survivor-centered movement to honor the inherent and collective power of survivors of gender-based violence. I want to give you a little bit of background about us and our organization, and then share a story from the people that I'm here to represent, which is the Saki community. So I want to talk a little bit about my program. I am the Associate Director of our Anti-Violence Team, which is one of many programs teams that we have at Saki. The Anti-Violence Team consists of crisis intervention advocates. We do case management, as well as our community engagement team and our helpline advocates. Saki provides a safe space for healing, advocacy, case management, as well as challenging the systemic issues that our communities face and the challenges that our communities experience. We work with survivors, allies, community partners, and survivors to achieve 4 major outcomes: safety, power, healing, and liberation. So as I mentioned, I'm here representing the Saki community, and so that is what I'm here to talk about. And in answering the question that was posed to us for this conversation, what I want people to know about our community is really simple: that a survivor of gender-based violence is more than what has happened to them. A survivor is someone with hopes and dreams and goals. A survivor is someone who is a student. A survivor is a parent, a caregiver. Our community wants to have healthy relationships. They want to talk about sexuality. They want to explore it. They have questions. They want to confront how trauma and stigma has prevented them from talking about these conversations, from sharing their experiences, from asking questions, from just having desires. I want you to know that our community includes mothers and caretakers who, on top of being survivors of gender-based violence and experiencing all of the barriers that come with being a South Asian in this country, coming from an immigrant background and navigating that, they're not able to talk about postpartum depression. They're not able to talk about learning disabilities and neurodivergence that may come up as they send their kids off to school. There's nobody to talk to about the fact that there's significant increase in intimate partner violence during pregnancy and postpartum. Survivors in our communities are just not seen beyond what has happened to them. I want to share a story from our community and sort of leave you with a thought. One of our amazing programs is the Community Engagement Program. I'm here with my colleagues as well from the CEP team. But a really powerful program that we've done, and we've done this for years, is called NYC, which stands for Navigate Your City. It's a really fun opportunity to be a tourist in your own city. So we're based in New York, and that is where our community lives. And so we take trips all around New York City to places maybe that folks have not been to. So this could be a Broadway show or a museum or just taking a ferry ride to a different borough. Recently, we visited the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens. It was a really beautiful day. All the flowers were in bloom. It was just such a beautiful time. I was walking with a community member, and we kind of went off to the side on our own, and we were talking about everything under the sun. She has 3 small kids. I have 2 small kids, and we were just connecting and talking. And she started really sharing with me that this was the first time that she had been out in weeks, maybe even a month, she said, maybe even a month and a half. And she said it was really difficult for her to get out of the house because she doesn't have that village, she doesn't have that support. And for her, leaving her home and coming to a Saki event, to her it felt like she was going home to her Maika. Maika is the Urdu Hindi word for my mother's home. That for her was home. And Saki felt like her home, the community at Saki. She told us it felt like she was with her sisters. They were giving her children the same love that her sisters would. And she said, as we continued walking, she said, when I come to Saki, I just feel home. I feel like I'm at home. I feel safe. She also shared with me that she was someone who loved to paint. And she said, when I look around in this beautiful garden, I think about all of the things that I could paint. I wish I had brought something that I could sit here and paint with, but I just can't. You know, the children, they're running here and they're running there, but I wish I could paint. And she said, and I'm going to say this in Urdu because that was the way that she shared it with me, and I'll translate it. But she said, आज यहाँ आके ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं किसी और दुनिया में आ गई हूँ और दुनिया कितनी खूबसूरत है. This translates to, today when I'm here, I feel like I'm in another world, and this world is so beautiful. I want you to sit with that for a minute. And I don't want you to sit with it to make you feel bad or to make you feel sad. I want you to sit with it just to show you that survivors have this inherent power. They have a shine, they shine, but that light has been dimmed. And we as advocates, as allies, as community members, we're not empowering. They have their own power, they hold their own power. All we do is provide the tools and the resources. We provide a safe space for them to come to. We uplift their courage to be able to tell their stories and ask the questions that they've always wanted to ask. We want them to be able to share their experiences and be who they want to be. My ask to you all here in answering this question is I want you to sit with us. I want you to be in community, and I want you to hold space. I'm going to end with that, but I do want to share that we do have a table out in the exhibit area, and we would love to meet you. We would love to chat. I'm here with my two wonderful colleagues, and we would love to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nisa. What amazing, powerful work, and such vital work, especially within our community that hasn't had spaces like these. So thank you so much to you and your team. And now we have Rishika, who is joining us via Zoom. I'm going to make you large, Rishika. Rishika, if you can try speaking, can we hear you? Can you hear us, Rishika? No, here, let me see. Let's click on mute. Oh, I think, were we mute?
Yeah, we're on. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Hey, Rishika. Hey, sorry, we just realized we were on mute. But we wanted to pass the mic to you to introduce yourself to everyone and share your story.
Well, thank you so much. Hey, everybody. My name is Rishika. I'm honored to be here. So thank you to the Indian American Impact for inviting me, especially to be among these incredible people that are sharing the stage with me. I wish I could be with you in person, but my health isn't making that an option this year. Some background about me. I was born and raised in Princeton, New Jersey, and I'm Punjabi. My mom came to the U.S. when she was about 5, and my dad came right before college and built his life here. Neither of them have Indian accents, which my friends always seem to be surprised about. I grew up in a very privileged NFL family. My dad was an executive for the league, so we did things like going to the Super Bowl every year with a full VIP experience. In Princeton, there isn't much socioeconomic diversity, so I grew up thinking everybody was like me because everyone I knew was. Our home was also full. My Dadima and Dadaji lived with us until they passed, and that's the South Asian household I grew up in. Multi-generational, privileged, but also deeply pressurized. From the ages of 0 to about 17, my life was defined by high standards. My mom had us in Kumon, speed reading, tutoring, summer school at Rutgers Prep, and even SAT prep as freshmen, because she always had the intention of us getting ahead. We had to do every sport, every AP class, and I did Bharatanatyam since I was 4. But it was always with the expectation that I needed to earn an Arangethram, which I did, but I chose not to do. I was the slowest one in track and ashamed when I did poorly in AP Calc, but those feelings didn't matter. That's what it meant to grow up South Asian, interested, and everything being competitive. Results came first, feelings came second. And when I had And when I wasn't at school or practice, I was in the doctor's office because being sick became my identity pretty soon. At 17, I entered an abusive relationship. It was emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, and I believed I deserved it. Abuse is a taboo subject in South Asian homes, as is the concept of dating so young, so I didn't feel safe telling my parents or any parental figure in my life. Later, I was raped while studying abroad by someone I thought was my friend, and I endured some deep medical trauma here at home. I was left with severe PTSD, constant flashbacks, nightmares, suicidal ideation, and a lot of disassociation. But silence kept me from seeking help. One of my proudest acts of defiance was pledging my sorority. It gave me a sense of self-worth that I hadn't known. And it also gave me the courage to finally leave my abuser after I crossed. That decision is one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, and it also saved me. My health challenges, though, kept worsening. I now live with over a dozen life-threatening chronic illnesses, uh, it, and it keeps snowballing. So I'm just expecting more to come. I've been through chemotherapy, I've survived a ventilator, and I've spent years in a wheelchair and had to relearn how to walk in acute rehab, which sometimes, even today, feels impossible. I was once so sick that I couldn't attend my sister's wedding in India, so they did a Gujarati ceremony there. And in true South Asian fashion, my family threw an entire second wedding that was Punjabi here in New Jersey, so I could be there. Love and privilege coexisted with pain. Even as my health declined, I built a career. I earned my master's at Johns Hopkins, working in the Obama White House, which felt like home and honestly the greatest honor of my life. And later in corporate America, where I was raped again in the workplace by a senior executive in my company. But also in corporate America, I faced disability discrimination at the deepest levels. But it was my health that forced me to step away from my government affairs career entirely. That was devastating since I had worked so hard to get to where I was. But it was also when beauty found me in a new way. In hospital rooms, I would drown out ICU screams by watching makeup videos and listening to the comic voices of my favorite influencers. Excuse me. My husband encouraged me to try and make up myself when I came home, and I found that it gave me control. It gave me joy and it gave me purpose. Eventually, it became my platform. That's how Empower Beauty by Rishika was born, not just for products, but for advocacy. I challenge brands, even CEOs directly when inclusivity falls short because representation of beauty is not optional, it's life-saving. Being South Asian has shaped every step of of my journey, and it has amplified the pressures of my childhood. It deepened the silence around my abuse. It complicated how my family could see me. Even my dad was worried others would think that I was tainted. But it has also shaped my resilience, my voice, and the love that has carried me here. Today, my doctors tell me, do what makes you happy. And what makes me happy is this, honestly. Showing up here, speaking my truth, and fighting to build a world where people like me, South Asia, disabled, chronically ill, or survivors can finally see ourselves reflected, which is also the primary reason for me applying to the 2026 Sephora Squad. And if you so choose, you can support me achieve my dream by writing a testimonial for me, no obligation. But because scars are not weaknesses, they're proof of survival and they're powerful. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishika, for your sharing your inspiring story. And also, we are so sad that you're not able to be here, but we're sending you lots of love and healing and hope to see you soon in person. Our next part of the program, I know we're running a little bit behind from the last program, so what we want to do is kind of have folks, now that you've heard the amazing panelist stories, we're each going to split up. And Rishika, I'm going to also put you as a laptop with one of the groups to engage in conversation, is that we have a few questions that we want everyone, now that you've heard these stories, to share your own personal story within groups. And I'm going to give each group a board to write some of the common themes that you're seeing as you share your personal stories. So I think groups of 3 or 4 would be good. If you guys want to just make a little circle with your chairs. And if you came with someone you knew, let's try to find someone you don't know. Because you probably already know the stories of the people you came with. So let's split up and make it real quick to split up into those groups so that we can get in as much conversation as possible. And I'm going to put the questions up here on my screen so that I could pass Rishika on. Okay, wonderful. So if y'all want to, you can stay in your circles, but if everyone wants to choose a designated person from your group to do a report back about the different areas that we found common themes in our stories. Yeah. Here, I'm going to pass you the microphone so you can. Oh, that's okay.
So we went with the last one, what practices, traditions, or communities help to feel rooted and resilient. So we sort of talked about that, and we start with your dad. He said when you were running for the election, some ladies objected to your hijab and said, "Why should I vote? I'm not going to vote for her." And Dad asked why, and then she said, because of your hijab, and she said, okay, but he said, what does that mean to you? And she said, she felt you were not liberated because you wore that and you were out there. And so when your dad explained to her that that meant you were liberated, that because with that on, you still had the courage to run for the election, and so she walked away and ended up voting for you, coming back and voted for you. So it just showed that you stuck with your traditions, you stuck with your practices, you did not lie, did not plan, be ashamed of it, and tell anybody any lies or anything, and you stood by you, sort of thing. And I was telling them same thing, similar thing, not quite so, well, not quite like that, but almost like that. I had the same experience when I came to this country many years ago. I had gone to medical school in India, and coming from Madras, which was very traditional and old-fashioned, all that, I came here and interviewed for a job as a resident. And I was interviewed by a young lady who was African-American. And so she interviewed me, and she talked to me, and we finished the interview. And I got the job, but then she said, I would like to talk to you about something different. And this was, she said, off the medical interview. And she said, what would be my objection or no objection, or how would I feel basically about wearing Western clothes instead of my clothes? I interviewed in a sari. And so she said, so I said, well, I guess I would wear it. I mean, it was not a big deal to me because I had worn Western clothes when I was in school in India. And so she said, she looked at me and then she said, I would say only one thing to you. I want to give you a piece of advice. And she said, this is, again, I can't officially do this, but I'm talking to you just off the record. She said, never forget what you are, what your culture is, and don't ever forget your roots. If you keep true to your traditions and your roots, you will never go wrong. And she said, I would say, don't go wearing Western clothes just to prove something which you are not. So she gave me the job, and after that, I made her a promise kind of in my own mind, and I sort of told her I would follow it. I said I would not wear Western clothes. So I went through my residency. I went through working as an attending. I worked at everything. I wore either a salwar kameez or I wore a sari. I never wore Western clothes throughout my career. So after 40, 45 years of working, I reached heights which I never thought I would. I retired as medical director. I did everything I wanted to and beyond. And I never wore Western clothes even one day in my life. And people would come and ask me, is there a religious reason you don't do that and all that? I said, no, it was a promise I gave to somebody a long time ago. And I still feel that because I stuck with my traditions and all that, and I kept my promise to her, I achieved the heights I did. So very often I say, thank you, Dr. King. If it wasn't for you, I don't know if I would have achieved all this or not, but I did. Yeah. So. Good. Thank you.
So we try to just kind of tell our stories in terms of how we have felt. I guess mostly answering the first question and the second question. And I think the one term that I would say that is common to all of us, we all shared about, ways in which we felt othered. So whether it was from gender perspective or from class perspective or, being the parent of a LGBTQ child and having to sort of fight for them to be accepted. So this is basically, how we felt excluded and fought for inclusion. And I think that was a common thing we shared, and I don't want to miss out on telling her story, where she also talked about the fact that sometimes even within our own South Asian communities, sometimes you're not Asian enough or Indian enough or whatever, you can feel like there is no space for you. So I think that was a common theme that we talked about, how all of these are basically barriers to inclusion and how we're still fighting for that.
Okay, I guess I don't need to hold this up, but I actually need to look at it, so maybe I will. Oh, thank you. So we tried to tackle every single question. As you can see, we wrote down a lot in the barriers part. We talked about how language can be a barrier sometimes. It also speaks a little bit to what you all said about like not being South Asian enough. Like if you don't speak the language, like do you really even count? Like, there are different metrics that we use to judge each other, and it's really not healthy. Also just some education barriers. I think sometimes it kind of relates to like not having healthy dialogue about things that are new or might seem outside of the box for us. But I do think, kind of pivoting to more hopeful stuff, that while there is a lot of generational trauma that we're working through, I think there has been a significant uptick in people being brave and making space for marginalized communities in a way that like they haven't in the States traditionally before. I don't want to say that this isn't already happening in our countries of origin. So I'm not crazy about Gandhi, but I like the being the change you wish to see in the world. If you feel like there's a space that's not created, then if you feel brave enough and you have the resources, just going and sort of creating that and seeing where it goes. So that's some of the stuff that we talked about. Oh, and we love, well, I will agree with you, like some of the community celebrations that we're able to have, I think like that's definitely a place where we feel more like rooted and like kind of connecting with our culture again. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for coming to the session and engaging. I know we had a shorter time period to get everything through with, but I think what's really important is that all of us, we discuss and share these barriers and things that we faced, but also building that community of seeing that there's so many of us going through the same thing and the different ways that we have been resilient and that we have overcome these barriers. It's really important for us to tell our stories and share them so our younger generations can see that other folks have been able to do it, and it inspires them to keep going. And it inspires them to keep using their voice in stories and spaces to support our community. And also for us to build bridges, not just within the South Asian community, but our other marginalized communities, because they often have the same stories and lived experiences. And when we build those bridges, all of us can be a lot stronger together. Thank you all so much again for joining us.